Okay. There was no one else inside the carriage at the time, so it has to have been him. I trust the driver. He has an excellent memory, it seems, for a passenger with fares totaling 20 pence. He stuck the chap next to him just like this. Brazen, I must say, absolutely brazen. I have simply typed and collated all the statements made thus far and drawn the logical conclusion. You can trust the gold. Fair fares is our motto. We haven't raised prices above 4 pence for years. This scoundrel stabbing that poor man on the floor, it beggars belief. Oh my god, okay. I'm starting to wish I hadn't pushed for this now. Some of the Euros don't seem to have wonderfully formed arguments, though, do they? Well, let's see what we can do. We need to get these 6 people to change their minds. I will have to throw everything I can at them, and use some very persuasive language. Just a moment, Mr. Naruhodo. According to my book, that's not quite how it works. I thought I was going to have to thaw their icy minds with some heartwarming rhetoric about the defendant. Unfortunately, once the Euros have decided the defendant is guilty, they are unlikely to heed anything the defense says. But then, they have reached their conclusions by their own reasoning, you see. Your pleas will sound like excuses. In fact, it could recoil on you. The more you try to persuade them, the more entrenched they may become. Then what on earth am I supposed to do? Oh dear, I'm just citing what I've read about British law, Mr. Naruhodo. Right, I'm sorry. Do you have any idea how to make this work then? Well, from what I can understand, the key to this procedure is using the jurors' own words to make your arguments. What do you mean? Well, the 6 members of the jury are randomly selected members of the public. They may appear to present a united front, but the truth is, they are complete strangers who just happen to find themselves here in the courtroom together. And that's the way to break them down, you mean? Yes, exactly. We must listen very carefully to what each member of the jury says, and see if we can identify any contradictory statements. If we can, we then contrast the statements and pit the corresponding jurors against each other. I see, so it's contradictions and what 2 or more jurors say that we're looking for. In a way, then, this is similar to a regular cross-examination. Yes, I suppose you're right. Find contradictions in their statements and pit the jurors against one another to break them down. Alright, I might be able to pull this off. No, that's not right. I have to pull this off. Can we start proceedings, counsel? I would ask you to take the stand for this. I'm expecting a clear and concise rebuttal. Yes, my lord. The defense rebuttal. Okay. Du kannst Pit und Press machen. Okay, also sie spricht über den Fahrer und ich glaube, dass er hier Raise Prices of... So, also 2 und 5, glaube ich. So, we just need to find 2 jurors with contradictory statements and pit them against each other. Which is so much easier said than done. Is that perhaps what you were just thinking? How did you know? Well, I took the liberty of doing some research in case you happen to find yourself in just such a situation. Shall I read you what I found out? It's a little long, I'm afraid. Sure. Very well. Listen to this. During the summation examination, you will hear the assertions of the 6 members of the jury. In this situation, the counsel for the defense should use R and pit with impunity. Having done so, you will be able to compare the chosen assertion with those of the other jurors. Select the corresponding buttons to listen to the other jurors' assertions again. Note that you cannot choose the assertion of the juror you initially selected, nor can you choose assertions of jurors who have changed their leaning to not guilty already. Once you've compared the various jurors' assertions, work out which two contradict each other and then pit them together with R to pull them apart. Oh my god, okay, das klingt jetzt gerade sehr, sehr kompliziert. I see, she wasn't joking when she said it was long. The first step is to listen very carefully to what each other individual juror has to say. Then I'm sure you will start to see which ones might not quite agree with each other. Alright then. Let's get this right now, so I never have to listen to that long and boring explanation again. That's the spirit! Okay. Gut, also. Ich würde gerne 2 und 5 einmal mehr anhören. But does this ability to recall his takings that night really tell us how trustworthy the man is? I manage all his lordship's cash affairs, so I'm very particular when it comes to accounts. I see. A single penny can mean the difference between life and death after all, can't it? That's a saying in your country? My point is, a man who minds his figures is a man you can trust. Those of us in service would swear to that, sir. Does that bench really need any more polishing? So if the good driver says that he saw Mr. McGilded in the act, I don't doubt it. The only task left to do today is disposing of the rubbish. Oh, wait a minute. One of the other jurors mentioned something about money, I think. Now would be a very good time to listen carefully to juror statements again, Mr. Naruhodo. If you notice an inconsistency in what 2 different jurors are saying, I should expose it by pitting them against each other. Yes, let's see if I can do just that. Ja, und zwar dieser Herr hier. You can trust the guild fair versus our murder. We haven't raised prices above 4 pence for years. That's how much it costs to take the omnibus? That's right. As the guild master, I decided to set a policy for all drivers across the city. 1 fare no matter which bus you take or how far you're going. We have to compete with the rise of the motor car, you see. Us coachmen have to make a stand together. Motor cars, you say? Yes, and this murder in one of our buses is extremely damaging to our cause. It's beyond the pale. It will lead to a decline in passengers, you mark my words. And it's all that rascal's fault. He has to pay. Is it the crime or his bosses he's more worried about? Anyway, every member of my guild is reliable and trustworthy. So if the driver says he saw him do it, that fellow in the dock is as guilty as sin. Okay, dann ich möchte... Frag mich, warum ich nicht immer... Ich glaube, ich musste für A und D benutzen, um zurückzugehen. Zwischen den... Nee, ich habe mir das schon angehört. Alles gut. Ich glaube, ich habe auch das gefunden, was ich brauche. Okay, dann ich überspringe das jetzt hier so gut ich gerade kann, weil das ist jetzt einfach nur wieder das Tutorial. Gut, dann würde ich sagen, auf geht's mit Pit. Und zwar... I trust the driver he has, und zwar ihn hier. Those 2 statements clearly contradict each other. They do. Explain yourself, counsel. Me? Oh dear, what have I said? I swear on Silver Blaze. Main and name, I haven't the first idea what you're talking about. According to the group testimony we've heard so far, there were 4 passengers to the omnibus on the night in question. And according to the coachman, Mr. Peppo, he took 20 pence and flares. Quite right, I have those precise details typed neatly here in front of me. And juror number 5 also told us the following. The fare for the omnibus is always 4 pence. That it is, a fair and convenient single price, just the way London's carriages should be operated. But that doesn't add up at all. In fact, it leaves a glaring discrepancy in the facts. Why, man, why? 4 passengers paying 4 pence each. If you do the multiplication, it would be 16 pence. Exactly. As I said, it doesn't add up. The figures are different. By 4 pence in fact. Or precisely one person's fare. One person's fare? Yes, in other words, on the omnibus that night, it's distinctly possible there was another passenger we've heard nothing about. This can't be right. The coachmen of the guild are good, honest men. One and all, trustworthiness is our watchword. The figures your coachman claims most certainly do not add up. Your watchword, good sir, is a fallacy. I beg your pardon. Mr. Guildmaster, I think you ought to consider that if this trial were to end now, the news will surely spread all over London. The news that one of your coachmen tried to hide the fact that he lets nefarious characters ride his omnibus. Alright then, how do I make it so this miserable trial doesn't end, huh? Well, according to my book here, you simply launch a ball of fire onto the innocent side of the set of scales. Now hold your horses there, coachman. We were all in agreement. Why do you have to go and... Wait till I get my hands on you, Peppo. Oh, this is all very irritating. Begging your pardon, sir, I'm going to do the same. For the love of Mike, not you as well. A penny can be the difference between a smile and a tear, after all. I certainly can't put my trust in someone who doesn't follow my exacting standards in financial matters. Oh, really? I, for one, think it's only proper that we hear from the witnesses again. Oh, well done, Mr. Naruhodo, you did it! If we can manage to change 2 more jurors' minds, we can force the trial to continue. 2 more. Actually, there's something else that's bothering me about a couple of their assertions. Then that's where you must strike next. So I need to pit 2 more jurors against each other and show there's another contradiction in their assertions. Exactly, you can do it. Okay, ich glaube, ich weiß, was Ryunosuke meint. Und zwar der Juro mit dem Messer in der Hand und die alte Dame mit ihrer Stricknadel. Ich glaube, das sind die 2, die noch ähnliche Sachen gesagt hatten. Counsel, you have the floor again. Continue with your summation examination. Okay, und zwar möchte ich jetzt gerne diesen Herrn hier einmal anhören. Careful, you could hurt somebody with that. You're fine one to talk. What of that sword hanging from your waist? No, that's just my battered soul. Well, anyway, I despise anyone with too much money. They're all the same, all stabbing some brickmaker or other behind the scenes, you mark my words. That seems very unlikely, doesn't it? Are you mad, man? We know that small shorty is a rotten Sherlock. Well, yes, that does seem to be the case, but... So Naruhodo, please, be careful what you say. If he's been trying to squeeze money out of us, less fortunate than as far as I'm concerned. He's as guilty as sin, the man can hang. Come to think of it, didn't one of the other jurors have something to say about the defendant's underhand activities? If you thought of something, Mr. Naruhodo, don't let it go. Test your theory. But the 2 jurors whose statements seem to be contradictory against each other. No time like the present to use ours to pit them against each other, or I will never get anywhere. Gut, dann würde ich sagen, pit ihn mit ihr. Das sind die einzigen beiden, die darüber geredet haben. Those two statements are completely contradictory. What? Explain, counsel. Post haste. Oh dear me, I was only knitting a jumper for my other half. What is all this claptrap? What does contradictory even mean, I ask you? We have heard from more than one witness that they allegedly saw the actual moment when the defendant stabbed the victim. Now, out of curiosity, juror number 3. What? Can't you see that I'm busy here? How would you say the defendant stabbed the victim? What sort of motion was it? Want to test me, do you? It was like this, stuck the fellow next to him without even getting up, just like the broom banker said. Yes, that was Mr. Fairplay's testimony, quite true. Now then, juror number 6. Oh, is that me, is it? What can I do, you 4 young men? How would you say the defendant stabbed the victim, madam? Oh, well dear, as far as I understand it... Ja, und die Motion müsste jetzt anders sein. Es müsste jetzt von oben nach unten sein. Ja, genau so, wie sie das vorhin gezeigt hatte. It was like this. He stabbed the poor man after he had collapsed on the floor. The coachman said so. Now, don't move. Take a look at these two jurors. He stuck the fellow next to him without even getting up. And he stabbed the poor man after he'd collapsed on the floor. Well, I never... They're stabbing in totally different directions. What this tells us is that there's a strong possibility one of the witnesses isn't telling the truth. But why the dickens would they lie? I don't know that yet, but what I do know is that if the trial ends at this point, we may never find out. We may never know the real truth. Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, can you really let that happen in all good consciousness? Lies, you say? Oh dear me. I can't abide people telling lies. Ich bin mir auch nicht sicher, ob ich das eine Wort gerade richtig gelesen habe oder ob ich das gerade verwechselt habe. The scales. I don't believe it. Wait! Now hear this, my fellow Euros. I warn you, you cannot listen to this man. Look at him in his black suit. He's clearly some devious Eastern sorcerer using magic on us all. If I could use magic, do you really think I would be putting myself through all this? Answer me this, Dark Jinx. Me? What exactly is the problem? What of it if two witnesses have slightly different recollections of events? What of it? Let's say the Shylock did stab the victim as he was sat next to him on the omnibus, and this young dandy saw him do it. And now let's say the victim collapsed on the floor and then the Shylock stabbed him again, and this old lady saw him do it. Well, what's to say it didn't happen like that, huh? Who are you calling a dandy, sir? Why should I take this knife to you? Who are you calling old? Why I should take this needle to you? They are ready to kill each other now. But could the foreman of the jury be right? Did the two witnesses see two different moments of the same crime? Nee. Unfortunately, Mr. Foreman... What is it, you Dark Jinx? Come on, out of it. What are you suggesting is impossible? It's out of the question. What are you talking about, man? How can you possibly say that? You do realize that I'm only doing my job. As foreman of the jury, I have a responsibility to steer everyone in the right direction. So where's your evidence, man? That's what we want to see. I say the two witnesses saw two different moments of the same crime. If you say that's out of the question, show me some proof. It looks like the only way I'm going to convince him is to present him with something he can't dismiss. Some irrefutable hard evidence. As you wish. What? I will give you the proof. It's out of the question that the two witnesses saw two different moments of the same crime, as proven by dem Autopsiebericht. This is the victim's autopsy report. According to what's written here, Mr. Mason was stabbed in the abdomen only once. It's quite simple. The victim was stabbed precisely one time. Which means these witnesses can't possibly have seen it happen two different times. Alright, I concede defeat. Wait, that means €4 are now leaning to not guilty. We have done it, Mr. Naruhodo. We've won! What are you playing at, you dandy fool? Shut your trap, sir. No one deceives me. But we had a consensus. I said shut your trap. I know a liar when I see one. And if the chap ever dares to cross the threshold of my shop, I will take this razor-sharp blade and shave every last hair off his head. Please tell me he's a barber. Well, in a quite remarkable turn of events, the defense's summation examination has flipped the balance of the scale of justice. The Euros now stand at 2 for guilty and 4 for not guilty. Accordingly, there is no longer a large enough majority among the jury for me to adjudicate, and the trial must continue. I hereby ask the defense, prosecution, and witnesses to return to their places, and I call upon all of you to continue to pursue the truth. So, Lord von Zieks, continue to substantiate the case for the prosecution, if you please. Having savored the rich aroma of the Carmen contents of this hallowed chalice. It may seem crass to crush it to dust. Pray forgive the discourtesy. Lord von Zieks. Is it cold in here, or is it just me? As your antiquated tomb no doubt says, the prosecution may not speak during a summation examination, so I honored a deathly silence and listened to the charade. It seems I overestimated the intelligence of the jury. Well, no matter. There is nothing so hard to prove as a self-evident truth, it would seem. No, and why else would we grace the courtroom with our presence after all? So, let us proceed to the next round of battle. Bring forth the witnesses once more. Witnesses, I trust you heard the summation examination we have just had to endure. Oh, yes, sir. Sir. Of course I heard it. Oh, yes, sir. I heard it. You, sir, on the end, the coachman. I believe it's Peppo. Yes, sir, my lord, sir. If it transpires that in your previous testimony you were attempting to veil the presence of a fifth passenger on your omnibus, you will be found guilty of perjury. You are advised to bear that in mind, sir. Oh, mio Dio. Now then, witnesses, I hereby call on you to testify before the court again. You will explain the various misgivings brought to our attention by the defense's summation examination. Okay, various misgivings. Aber bevor wir hiermit jetzt weitermachen, gibt es hier erstmal einen Cut. Wir haben gerade super viel neue Sachen dazugelernt. Es wurde sehr viel geredet, sehr viel diskutiert Und ich finde das eigentlich sehr, sehr interessant und ein sehr, sehr cooles System, dass du eben so eine Jury jetzt hast und die gegeneinander auch ausspielen kannst. Also du kannst diese auch gegeneinander ausspielen sozusagen und hast dann eben ja noch mehr, mit dem du arbeiten kannst. Das System fand ich sehr, sehr interessant und auch gar nicht mal so schlecht gemacht. Und ich bin jetzt gespannt, wie das Ganze weitergeht, was wir noch herausfinden, ob wir die Identität von diesem 5. Passagier noch erfahren werden. Und ja, was sonst noch so passieren wird. Aber wie gesagt, hier gibt es jetzt erstmal einen Cut. Ich bedanke mich wie immer ganz herzlich fürs Zusehen. Hoffe, ihr hattet Spaß. Und wenn ihr mögt, sehen wir uns sehr, sehr gerne im nächsten Part wieder. Bis dahin, ciao.